Hello and welcome. I'm Rawia Alami and this is the Dailies, where we take a look at important news stories, reports, analyses and articles published in newspapers and media outlets across the world. Newspapers today divided their attention between continued coverage of the deadly Lisbon funicular accident and other major news stories, such as the UK's political scandal involving the Deputy Prime Minister and her subsequent resignation. In the US, headlines focused on topics ranging from Trump's latest actions in the drug war, his proposal to rename the Defense Department, and the Senate's Kennedy vaccine hearing. Tributes to iconic fashion designer Giorgio Armani, who died at 91, also dominated front pages worldwide. We'll start with the British newspapers, which focused largely on the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner's resignation after her stamp duty scandal. The Times quickly stepped in to survey the political landscape, asking who could inherit her dual mantle as Labour's deputy leader and also housing secretary. The piece serves as both a briefing for readers and a reminder of the stakes for Keir Starmer's government. The report outlines the main contenders with an accessible likelihood rating, balancing political reputation and also electoral vulnerability. Figures like Wes Streeting, Shabana Mahmood and Bridget Phillipson are positioned as serious deputy leadership prospects, while Matthew Pennycook emerges as a natural successor on housing policy. The article succeeds in framing the succession as an immediate test of Labour's internal dynamics, blending political gossip with substantive evaluation of party strengths and weaknesses. Prior to Rayner's resignation, The Telegraph had revealed in an exclusive that the law firm behind Angela Rayner's £800,000 Hove flat purchase has categorically denied providing her with any tax or trust advice, despite Rayner's claims she acted on legal guidance regarding her £40,000 stamp duty underpayment. In a significant disclosure, the law firm asserts they acted solely on information Rayner supplied and used also HMRC's online calculator, explicitly stating clients are referred to accountants for tax matters. The report cites the managing director of the law firm, who accuses Rayner of making the firm a scapegoat amid mounting political fallout. The direct contradiction exposes fresh doubts over Rayner's explanations and legal choices. Across the Atlantic, the New York Times led today with a news analysis tackling President Trump's latest and most controversial move in the war on drugs, ordering the U.S. military to kill suspected drug smugglers at sea. The report highlights how Trump is blurring the lines between law enforcement and wartime powers, redefining drug trafficking as armed conflict. The report or the analysis also highlights that legal scholars question whether this amounts to unlawful killings or even potential war crimes, since Congress has never authorized force against cartels. The White House insists the strike upheld U.S. national security, but critics warn the action dangerously expands presidential power and risks mistakes with deadly consequences. The piece frames the episode as part of Trump's broader push to militarize responses to crime, raising profound legal and moral dilemmas. Foreign policy was skeptical too regarding President Trump's move in the Caribbean. Ryan C. Berg wrote in Foreign Policy, examining the Trump administration's bold reclassification of drug trafficking as terrorism and the immediate military consequences of that shift. The author contends that the sinking of a suspected drug boat of Venezuela marked not only the first test of this doctrine, but also the prelude to the largest U.S. naval deployment in the Caribbean since the Cold War. The author goes on to say and to highlight that while officials frame the buildup as a counter-narcotics mission, the assets involved suggest deeper strategic ambitions. also deterring Nicolas Maduro, securing regional allies, as well as influencing energy-rich Guyana. Ultimately, the piece highlights the administration's attempt to assert power in the hemisphere while stopping short of outright regime change, keeping diplomatic and military options open. In an exclusive, the Wall Street Journal reports that the Justice Department has launched a criminal probe into Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, issuing subpoenas over alleged mortgage fraud. The inquiry also centered on Cook's properties in Michigan, Georgia, and Massachusetts, stems from referrals by Trump-appointed housing chief Bill Pulte. This marks the first disclosure that federal prosecutors are using grand juries to examine whether Cook misrepresented her residency on loan documents. The Wall Street Journal also notes that the timing is striking. Cook is already suing President Trump over his attempt to fire her, a move that could give him majority control of the Fed's board. The piece also underscores how this probe deepens questions about political pressure on the central bank's independence. While news of the Congress not planning to vote to extend the National Guard's deployment in D.C., the discussion around the legality of President Trump's move returned to the table. The Washington Post's editorial board, for one, warned that D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab's lawsuit against President Trump's deployment of the National Guard may do more harm than good. While the Attorney General argues that the presence of troops violates the Home Rule Act and oversteps federal authority, the editorial notes that the president has clear legal control over guards in Washington, unlike governors who command in their own states. And by suing, the Attorney General risks provoking Trump and congressional Republicans who are already pushing measures to strip the city of autonomy, including abolishing the elected Attorney General's office. The piece cautions that the lawsuit could backfire, extending the guard's stay and undermining the mayor's more careful strategy of limiting federal interference. Moving on to Le Monde, where Alain Frachon explores how Donald Trump's transactional view of NATO has cast Europe into what he categorizes as a protection racket. The piece describes how European leaders anxious to maintain U.S. support for Ukraine have repeatedly yielded to Trump's demands, raising military spending, accepting one-sided trade deals, and offering political flattery, all in exchange for continued American protection. Frachon contends that this strategy, while sometimes effective in the short term, leaves Europe both humiliated and strategically dependent. The article's critical tone highlights a deeper problem. Europe's struggle to chart an independent path, given its inability to substitute U.S. security guarantees. And by equating American support to a service for sale, the piece concludes that Trump's Trump's attitude raises real questions about the future of transatlantic solidarity. And we'll end with The Guardian, which published a special report providing a moving tribute to Giorgio Armani, the legendary Italian designer whose passing at 91 marks the end of a transformative era in fashion. The exclusive details highlight Armani's refusal to join conglomerates and his careful succession planning, ensuring continuity through trusted collaborators and family. As founder of a vast empire spanning fashion, interiors, and hospitality, Armani revolutionized style with his soft power dressing, liberating men and women from stiff tailoring and introducing the concept of quiet luxury. The obituary traces landmark moments such as Richard Gere's American Gigolo suit and Armani's deep ties to Hollywood's elite. Tributes from global leaders and celebrities underscore an enduring admiration and confirm Armani's place as a tireless innovator whose legacy will inspire future generations. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.